Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us for another awesome CPaaS Talks. I am here today with Joakim Sorelius. He's head of business unit at Ericsson, and we are here to talk today about some really cool stuff around network APIs. Vonage Ericsson contributed a lot into our recent CPaaS service provider playbook, so we'll dig into that. But first, let's do a quick intro. So Joakim, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're doing at Vonage Ericsson.
Thank you. Great to be here. Yeah, so I'm Joakim Sorelius, like you said. I work at Ericsson. I have a long background in telecommunications and Ericsson's core business around the products that we provide to the CSP community for them to build their networks and operate their networks, obviously. The last couple of years, I've been working with our acquisition, Vonage, to start introducing network APIs into their CPaaS and unified communications offering. So great to be here.
Very cool. Thanks for joining. So I don't think we've talked enough about network APIs over the last year. I'm being facetious because it's been a big part of the story. Certainly as we were at MWC earlier this year, I think we counted over 30 sessions around network APIs and the ability to bring programmability and really start integrating technologies into that core communication stack. So we're in a really exciting space right now, and it's a really exciting time because we're seeing a lot of momentum. Tell us about what you're seeing in the market and what the opportunities look like.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right there. I mean, the CPaaS business has been around for a long time, and if you would believe Gartner, Vonage is a leader in that business, providing voice, SMS, video as part of applications for developers and enterprises to make their applications better, get better contacts with their customers. They also provide a unified communication and contact center application that is building on these network API, simple network APIs, voice, video, and SMS. But now mobile networks has, of course, so many more capabilities than just voice, video, and SMS. You can think about authentication. You can think about the capability to provide a quality of service, which is an agreed service level agreement between network and application, location, a lot of information about the devices that are in the network, and information about the network itself. So it's only natural that the success that the CPaaS business has had with these first few network capabilities will just be continued with the more complicated or more advanced network APIs that we can get from the 5G networks. So it's really an exciting opportunity, and we see that the CSPs, definitely, they have realized that they're sitting on a very, very valuable asset that they would like, of course, to monetize and provide to developers. We also see that developers are starting to see that, okay, if I only could have access to some of these more advanced applications, more advanced APIs, I could build much better applications for my consumers as well. So I think it's a time where we see where the supply and the demand is starting to meet, and a lot of interest. We're in the beginning, though, and we can talk a lot more about what are these capabilities and how they can be used in the sequel here.
Yeah, excellent. And I think you're right. The developers are definitely starting to see the opportunities. We've got a lot of work as an industry to continue to evangelize that. But as we've started to see things get to market, we're seeing some really cool stuff. So you guys actually demonstrated this year at Enterprise Connect a really full authentication workflow that leveraged knowledge on the network as well as knowledge within the application to really improve the security of applications, but also improve the customer experiences or the user experiences they're going through and authenticating. So why don't we start there? Tell us about what you guys are doing in the authentication space and the opportunity there.
Right. So this really builds on the identity and authentication capability of 5G networks, meaning that the 5G network can securely identify which handset is actually and which user is actually being connected to the network. It can also make sure that knowledge about the device can be provided so that the application can be sure of that the user that is trying to access a certain application is actually the right one. And Vonage is providing the number verification and the SIM swap and the device location APIs as separate APIs, but I think what we're talking about here is the collaboration that we have with AWS, with Amazon Web Services, where we have taken these network APIs and combined them into what we call the Vonage Fraud Protection Solution. And this includes the Camara-based APIs that I mentioned, SIM swap and number verify, but it also includes very interesting AWS components, such as artificial intelligence, generative AI, and also the Amazon recognition tool suite as well. So that together with the the Vonage capabilities and the Amazon capabilities together, we are creating a really, really unique solution here for authentication and verification.
Yeah, it was very cool to see because you've got levels of confidence that we could see you were working with as they went through, and it wasn't just a black and white, they're in, they're out, but leveraging your knowledge around those different pieces and understanding what the actual fraud risk there. And I could see how that could apply to different types of applications. Maybe you need a really locked down experience for certain types of applications where everything's got to be super firm, where you can be looking at other applications where you've got some leeway. So it was exciting to see that. And then Vikram was brave enough to actually demonstrate that live while we were on the show floor, which that was, it was exciting to see it actually work.
Exactly. That demonstration, like you said, it shows how you build up the level of confidence by adding more and more capabilities from the 5G network into the suite. Of course, in real time, in a real scenario, you would of course do that seamlessly in the background and not have the user step through multiple steps. But the demonstration really showed that when you start with the number verification, you add some AI on the user behavior, you will add some SIM swap capabilities and so on, and the confidence that this is the valid transaction increases step by step until reaching the 100% level, which is really required for important fintech transactions, for example.
Yeah. So, that's really, really cool. And it's really going to take us to another level here as we think about security posture for companies. In fact, today I got another letter in the mail letting me know that my information was stolen by yet another hacker and yet another firm. So yeah, let's talk about QOD, quality on demand, and what you guys are seeing out there in the network opportunity.
So when we have looked at the business opportunity around network APIs, I mean, there are many studies. What we did was a bottom-up study, actually interviewing developers, making sure that it was the real users of network APIs that had a say in what would they use them for and how much were they willing to pay. We did that, of course, with a third party. And what we came up with in the 2030 timeframe, when there is about a $15 billion opportunity in total around the mobile network APIs, the QOD, or the quality on demand area, stood for as much as 36% of that. So by far the largest area, the largest opportunity there. And this is really the capability of 5G networks to provide that service level agreement, this SLA between the application and the network. And that could be in terms of bit rates, it could be in terms of latency and how fast the application responds, but it could also be in terms of resilience, the absolute certainty that the message will be delivered. And all those three capabilities, examples I mentioned of the network, they can be used by different types of applications, different use cases in the quality on demand area. So when we talk about quality of demand, often we think about online mobile gaming as being the killer application, or remote surgery has been mentioned. But when we ask the developers, it's more mundane but very important applications that are standing out as being the most important within this quality of demand area that is almost 40%, like I said, of those 15 billion in 2030. So the applications that are the biggest in terms of both volume of transaction and also total volume of addressable market seem to be point of sales devices, because they are often connected to the mobile network, and there are transactions there that are extremely important, both in terms of security, but they have to go through for the seller to make sure that he actually gets paid. So the transaction has to get through, it has to be resilient, it has to go fast. So it's a great use case for a quality on demand. The second largest is really in video broadcasting and video conferencing or video communications, like what we're doing now. If we were doing this on a mobile phone, I think that the application would try to reduce the bandwidth to a minimum just to make sure that the transactions can always come through, or the video can always come through. But with quality on demand, you can actually create a service level agreement between the application, the video application, and the network, and make sure that you get that bit rate that you need to have a great video quality throughout the whole call. Yeah. So those are the two biggest ones. And then, of course, you have gaming and you have others, but those are the very interesting use cases that developers would like to use.
Yeah. I remembered we saw at MWC this year, Sony with an integration from their camera into the actual network to guarantee bit rate on remote broadcasts and things like that. So very, very cool. And I think it's important that we focus, you mentioned $15 billion just in the network API piece by 2030, with QOD representing about roughly $6 billion worth of opportunity. So as we look at the overall market opportunity for CSPs between CPaaS applications and network APIs. It's important to think about this as stacking the amounts of each of those things in terms of the opportunity. So we're talking about $6 billion here, but we're also talking about a significant chunk of money for the authentication piece and a significant chunk of money for the other programmable elements in the other applications. So there's really a rich opportunity here for CSPs as they're looking out towards the end of this decade to make real money, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, some people are saying that they're worried that the network API business will replace the CPaaS business, but that is not what we see. Just like you said, I mean, this study shows that these are pretty much additive. There will be more transactions. Of course, some SMSs will be replaced by other verification solutions, like one-time passwords will be replaced by this number verify over time, obviously, but there will be so many more of these transactions, and so many more other use cases added to it. So it's really an additive market, not a replacement market, like you said.
Exactly. So lots of different CSPs out there in the world. What types of businesses is Vonage Ericsson going through and enabling with these technologies?
Oh, I mean, like we've seen with the CPaaS business, it's really no one can tell exactly what kind of applications will be created once these capabilities are becoming available globally and at scale. But we have seen a lot of interest, of course, now in the beginning of the online retail type of businesses, because they are dependent on the identity and security solutions that we talked about earlier. We also see that the more startup-like firms in terms of, for example, self-driving or assisted driving cars are very interested in the quality on demand use case. You mentioned Sony and the broadcast industry, very interested in being able to reserve or seamlessly ask for the capacity in the network when they need it at a certain site, not to rely on trucks with satellite communication, for example. And also, of course, the car industry that has so many different types of flows now coming from a car. There are flows that are more like in the background that does not require low latency or high speeds, but more reliability, that the data diagnostics data from the vehicle gets sent through reliably and surely, but slowly. But then there are other flows like entertainment flows, or even the security flows in terms of collision avoidance and things like that will need to be delivered with a different type of quality of service. And that we also demonstrated in Mobile World Congress this year together with Toyota, super interested in this type of capabilities. Excellent. So it's really all type of, I could go on. I mean, we have the healthcare industry who's interested in, the remote doctoring applications, like when you're having video conferences with the doctor, and make sure that is super good quality and so on and so on. So I would say almost every vertical in one way or the other, as they more and more digitalize their offerings and their applications and their business, will touch network APIs in one way or the other. I'm absolutely sure of that.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, it's great to start seeing these use cases bubble up and get out into the real world. So as you look towards 2030, we put that out there for a particular dollar amount. What really gets you excited? What are you seeing as developments in this space, and what really gets you excited about what's to come?
Well, like I said, I mean, we have the quality on demand use cases that requires the networks to be built out and also use this standalone capability, like we call it, to actually be able to provide that service level agreement. So that's going to come. The identity and security APIs like number verification and SIMs, what we talked about already. So that's good. But there are more as well. I mean, we have the location type of APIs, because the network knows exactly where a device is, in which geographical area. And in the future, networks are being upgraded to provide more and more precise network locations. We have seen with Ericsson features in the network that you can get down to about 1 meter accuracy with the network API on type of location. That's super interesting. However, that's going to require a consent solution, meaning that the end user will have to be able to say, yes, it's okay for the network to position me, and for what type of application that is okay. So we're going to see not service APIs only, but also operate APIs that automatically allows end users and CSPs to agree on that this and this APIs can actually be used in that context. So location APIs and their associated operate APIs are going to come, super exciting. There are also a host of APIs that are related to the device itself that can give information about the status of the device. That's around 10% of this number that we talked about before. Location is also around 10%. And another 10% will come from network information. So no information not about the end user or the device, but about information about the network. For example, how many users are active in a certain area. Could be very interesting for security services or blue light services, or even for advertisements if you would like to know how many people are in a particular area. Edge compute control use cases are coming. So I think that if you would take the relevant network API opportunities or the network capabilities that could be exposed by network APIs, it's just, and then you start to combine them into more advanced applications, and there's really no end to where this will go. So I'm very, very confident that this is the future, and the industry and the software and applications will go in this way. It will touch every vertical like we talked about before, but it will not be one thing. It will not be one killer application. It will be a plethora of different use cases that will make up this great opportunity.
Yeah, it's very, very exciting. And I can't wait to see all of the connected applications and really how developers and companies innovate on top of these new network capabilities. We'll actually be updating our playbook every 6 months. So I'm very excited to see the new use cases and vision from Vonage Ericsson as we do our next update here in November. And we will also have Vonage Ericsson on stage and with us at our upcoming CPaaS Acceleration Summit in Amsterdam this September 16th through the 18th. So lots of awesome insights to look forward to there. Joakim, thanks for joining us today. This was very insightful, and really excited about what you guys are working on over at Vonage Ericsson.
Thank you, and we are super happy and proud to be part of, to contribute to this first ever playbook, and looking forward to support you with the updates as well.
All right, thanks. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.